A masked predator stalked right up to Nancy Guthrie's doorstep on January 31st, 2026. Every single step was chillingly deliberate, showing they fully understood, eyes were on them. That security lens by the front door recorded their chilling presence for exactly 4 seconds. A totally faceless phantom stood frozen in place before violently ripping the entire recording device straight out of its solid wall mount. Everything cut to black as the video died. Lurking right there in the shadows, the attacker genuinely felt victorious, utterly convinced they had permanently destroyed all the digital proof. They arrogantly assumed their identity was safe, but they were fatally mistaken, completely blind to a massive underlying trap. Feds never relied on just a single security lens. Authorities had actually pulled footage from 6 distinct recording setups that tracked the prowler, offering 6 unique views, 6 distinct timestamps, and 6 critical clues proving this individual had stalked her property for 3 whole weeks prior. Tearing down that doorbell lens was supposed to be their ultimate, foolproof cover-up. Instead, that desperate blunder handed detectives absolutely every single vital clue required to build an airtight profile. It proved the intruder was highly tech-savvy and fully aware they had stepped right into a monitored zone. It proved this wasn't some random job by a petty thief. This strike was highly orchestrated, incredibly precise, and executed by a stalker who obsessed over the residents. Yet while they studied their target, half a dozen lenses secretly documented their every move, logging, scouting trips, and gathering invisible proof that federal agents now completely control. So before moving on, if you are tracking this mystery and want to see how digital breadcrumbs will blow this wide open, hit subscribe and toggle alerts. At Crime Uncovered, we dig deeper than basic daily headlines. We reveal exact strategies detectives use to rescue missing victims. For Nancy's nightmare, the proof is rapidly accumulating surrounding the 84-year-old grandmother. She essentially evaporated from her Arizona residence late on January 31st, prompting her child, Savannah, a famous morning television host, to take a soul-crushing morning call from her sibling, stating their mother was gone. That horrible realization triggered the absolute most aggressive statewide search operation seen in modern history. Federal agents quickly partnered with local deputies to form an elite squad of over 20 relentless detectives. Rescue crews scoured barren wastelands while dive teams plunged into lakes. Tracking dogs sniffed through brutal canyons. But as time dragged on mercilessly, detectives totally pivoted their overall strategy. Detectives knew this senior hadn't simply gotten lost walking around. Her profound physical limitations meant she could barely take steps, conclusively proving this was a ruthlessly premeditated kidnapping. That stolen security clip quickly became the true foundation of their manhunt. By February 10th, exactly 9 days following the vanishing, federal agents executed a massive tactical shift. They published a frozen frame of the disguised prowler, which instantly ignited massive outrage and speculation online. Major television outlets flashed it endlessly while digital networks absolutely erupted with terrified chatter and reposts. Giant highway signs blasted the grim picture, demanding clues. And just as authorities hoped, leads actively poured in. Hundreds swamped the tip hotline within 72 initial hours. Yet once federal tech experts meticulously analyzed the digital guts of that recovered recording, comparing hidden file data against overlapping security networks, they unearthed a truly game-changing and horrifying secret. That widely circulated picture was originally presumed to be from the night of the crime, but it definitely wasn't from January 31st. It was recorded several full weeks prior. This terrifying detail didn't just complicate the timeline, it completely blew up the entire psychological profile of the suspect. If this phantom had previously trespassed on Nancy's private property and triggered sensors during prior scouting trips, it meant an obsessed stalker had been actively hunting her for ages. The local sheriff validated this grim theory during a tense briefing. He officially admitted detectives are totally convinced that viral doorway snapshot was actually captured much earlier. Sometime around mid-January, things took a dark turn. The insider kept tight-lipped on the exact reasoning behind their explosive theory, yet he dropped a massive bombshell anyway. Detectives were suddenly hunting down local security tapes, focusing strictly on 2 extremely crucial days. These chosen dates felt completely meaningless to oblivious neighbors, yet they quickly became vital anchors in the timeline. We are talking about January 11th and January 24th. exactly 3 weeks before the snatching, followed by another visit just 7 days prior. These 2 scouting runs prove the mastermind orchestrated this nightmare flawlessly. That represents classic stalking tradecraft. Secret Service operatives literally study this exact same blueprint. Elite combat squads constantly practice these maneuvers. Masterminds plotting massive underground heists definitely rely upon those identical fundamentals. Amateurs stroll blindly onto a scene praying for a lucky break when darkness falls. Pros thoroughly case the joint beforehand. They track habits. They spot every lens and alarm. They memorize who owns vicious hounds, tracking exactly when the locals clock in and out, mapping the busiest avenues against the absolutely deserted dead-end roads. They absorb every detail, returning later just to confirm the coast remains completely clear. Those preliminary spying sessions perfectly match that terrifyingly calculated routine. The prowler studied, synchronized, and plotted to guarantee flawless execution. However, our ghost committed one fatal blunder. The fool believed the lenses staring back at them were the only ones recording. Their attention fixated entirely upon that glaringly prominent doorbell mounted by the main entryway. They undoubtedly spotted exposed monitors rigged below the roofline or capping the driveway, completely ignoring the shadows. Fortunately, those concealed devices and stealthy monitoring rigs caught every single move. Allow me to break down exactly what the authorities uncovered. The moment federal agents began extracting neighborhood footage across a 5-block perimeter surrounding Nancy's residence, diving into the agonizing task of analyzing endless recordings, they hit an absolute goldmine. The intruder got snagged on film countless times, not merely once, nor twice, but consistently throughout. Every single lens secured a completely unique vantage point, a fresh viewpoint, and a separate fragment of the mystery. Piecing them together reveals far beyond an abduction. It displays a fully realized 3-week tactical operation. Device number 1 serves as the digital bouncer at Nancy's porch. Everybody recognizes that specific lens. It famously grabbed the terrifying shot of the disguised intruder right before getting brutally ripped from its mounting. Knowing exactly how smart doorbells operate remains incredibly vital for grasping why that violent destruction was utterly pointless. Smart systems practically never save their recorded files directly inside the physical hardware. They instantly blast video feeds straight onto virtual servers. The split second a snapshot clicks. The data zips via wireless networks into secure off-site storage. Tearing the plastic apart prevents any further filming. Yet it utterly fails to delete the secrets already safely uploaded. The attacker honestly believed they were eliminating the physical proof. In reality, they merely confirmed its validity. Lens 2 sat perched along a timber barrier guarding the backyard boundary. This specific eye stays completely hidden from any casual sidewalk pedestrians, pointed directly toward the home's rear. It keeps a watchful gaze squarely upon the back exit and the deck. The invader either totally missed this monitor while staking the place out, or foolishly brushed it off, thinking their main assault would hit the front. Regardless of their twisted logic, the machine kept rolling. The tragic dawn, Nancy vanished. As frantic relatives pulled up, discovering the rear gateways wedged completely ajar, detectives instantly remembered this specific electronic witness. If the kidnapper slipped through those garden exits at any stage during the terrifying ordeal, whether creeping inside from behind, fleeing outward, or jamming the latches intentionally, Camera 2 likely recorded the entire catastrophe. Camera 3 oversees the asphalt and the main vehicle bays. According to police insiders chatting with local journalists, this particular feed had been rolling non-stop for several months. It logged perfectly mundane everyday routines. Her busy family steadily arriving and departing, yard workers maintaining their weekly shifts, pool technicians, postal couriers, package droppers, and essentially every ordinary sight you would naturally anticipate within a wealthy suburb. However, once detectives began scrutinizing tapes from those exact days, actively hunting for bizarre inconsistencies, they struck pay dirt. Unfamiliar rides creeping by, strange sedans rolling past at a crawl, endlessly circling throughout the night, suspicious trucks pausing momentarily outside before speeding off. Strikingly, a few of those exact rides popped up on several different days. One identical sedan materialized during the initial scouting run, then reappeared for round 2, and likely returned the very night she vanished. That clearly isn't random luck. It represents a deadly pattern. This changes everything. The fourth lens in this mystery sits just 2 doors away, quietly recording from another smart doorbell. While aimed mainly at the owner's entrance, its sweeping angle easily catches the passing road. And during one chilly evening late that first month of the year, that exact lens caught something absolutely chilling, a lone silhouette creeping down the pavement, strolling at a snail's pace. The shadow stared directly at the victim's home. And though the grainy footage prevents a solid ID, the clock perfectly matches those known scouting missions. It clearly locks the prowler's footprint onto that very street. The footage confirms they lurked nearby, studying their target, creating an unbreakable chain of events once investigators pair it up with the remaining clues. The fifth device watches a nearby junction, hovering roughly 3 streets over from the crime scene. Street monitors rarely break abduction rings, as their main purpose revolves purely around tracking daily commutes, ticketing reckless drivers, and feeding live updates to city grids. Yet they never actually stop rolling. Each and every single ride crossing that path gets permanently immortalized on film. Once federal operatives yanked the tapes covering those crucial target dates, they stumbled upon a clue that completely blew the lid off the mystery. A shadowy 4-door rolled past 6 distinct times over a 3-week span. Half a dozen sightings on varying days, always striking during those dead midnight hours when the streets sit totally empty. Without fail, each recorded trip showed the driver heading straight toward the victim's immediate community. Half a dozen trips generating solid digital footprints, outlining a stalking routine that confirms cold-blooded, calculated intent without question. Pinning down those registered tags to unmask the driver would blow this entire mystery wide open. The sixth lens hangs outside a local storefront, sitting roughly 2 streets away from the target zone. Originally mounted to guard the shop's tarmac against thieves, the lens actually catches way more than just the immediate customer spots. It easily sweeps across the neighboring roadway. And insiders close to the unfolding federal probe hint that very system caught a ride fleeing the zone during those dark, early hours of February 1st, precisely when the victim vanished. Should digital tech teams successfully clean up those blurry frames, pulling a crisp tag number or confidently locking down the car's brand would instantly turn that specific automobile into the ultimate smoking gun. 6 lenses, half a dozen unique angles recording the stalker's every move, yet the perpetrator only ever spotted a single device. They violently ripped down that obvious smart doorbell, totally oblivious to the remaining 5 eyes secretly tracking their repeated scouting runs. Completely blind to the fact that street monitors logged their car on 6 distinct occasions, blissfully unaware of the surrounding security nets cross-checking each other, handing federal agents an absolute goldmine. Authorities are dissecting the pixels, sharpening every shadow, and hunting down rides. Agents are piecing together a flawless, second-by-second, 21-day map of the intruder's movements, and buried within those massive files lies the exact truth needed to nail the culprit. We must spotlight Cameron Guthrie now. Since his hidden impact on tracking, this case runs way deeper than anyone usually assumes. That guy is Savannah's sibling. He also operates as an elite combat aviator and armed forces tactical analyst. The man practically made a career out of reading hidden routines, exposing dangers, and breaking down complex enemy blueprints. When his frantic sister dialed him just as dawn broke on February 1st, desperately trying to process their mother's sudden vanishing, this guy required absolutely 0 time to decode the chaos. His survival instincts fired off instantly. She painted the grim picture: rear exits wedged ajar, the smart lens violently ripped away, and fresh red stains covering the porch, plus their parent missing without her mobile device. Essential pills, or basic footwear, clad merely in sleepwear. A bizarre scenario that would easily crush a normal civilian, but his tactical mindset immediately took the wheel. He processed the grim clues exactly like a high-stakes battlefield report. The verdict struck him fast and hard, bluntly warning his sister. Someone snatched her for a massive payout. Stunned beyond belief, she pushed back, demanding to know why any psycho would actually target an aging woman. How could he leap to such a terrifying extreme so fast? Yet his trained eyes caught the invisible threads. He spotted the absolute signatures of a professional hit. Knowing that blinding the lens proved extreme tactical caution, that wedged exit alone screamed of a carefully mapped invasion and escape path. Leaving absolutely all of her daily essentials behind actively proved she was violently dragged away with zero prep time, while the perfectly untouched interior heavily confirmed this was never just some botched robbery attempt. This grab was absolutely intentional. The perpetrators zeroed right in on Nancy Guthrie, clearly aiming for a massive payday due to Savannah's status as a famous network broadcaster. That theory hit the mark completely since extortion letters dropped soon after. Several cash requests flooded different news stations, though Savannah told Hodoc during their recent chat that the majority of these messages were complete bogus. Sick pranks drafted by scavengers hoping to cash in on the clan's nightmare. Relatives spotted the bluffs instantly since the details remained incredibly blurry. None of those messages held concrete facts proving the writers actually secured Nancy or understood her fate. Yet a pair of dispatches stood out. Relatives secured a pair of messages straight from the source, bringing exclusive intel missing from the rest. Savannah confirmed these specific letters highlighted hidden aspects regarding both the interior and exterior of the victim's property. Clues exclusively available to an individual who physically scouted the grounds and ran deep recon missions. So what exactly did they share? Exact specifics remain tightly under wraps by both relatives and authorities, though we can definitely form solid theories based entirely around standard spying tactics. Interior intelligence might feature the exact floor plan of the residence. How many bedrooms exist? Painted wall shades, or the specific carpet choices? Couch positioning, alongside distinct item descriptions strictly visible to a person physically wandering the halls or illegally peering through illuminated window panes after dark. The writer might highlight personal portraits hanging up, a rare canvas, the living room screen arrangement, stove models, or basically any detail proving the stalker secured a clear view indoors. Exterior clues might map out the yard's design, how the pavement curves, or where the carports sit, boundary borders, two-garden arrangement, hidden lens mountings, and the specific entryways utilized. What materials build the entrance deck, rear courtyard traits, or the swimming zone? Essentially anything cementing the fact that this ghost actively monitored the yard. Which brings up a huge point. The ghost mailing those extortion demands pulled off the exact same spying captured on video, physically visiting the target estate while gathering crucial visual intelligence. The watcher studied everything closely, logging brain memos or snapping literal pictures to learn the dwelling perfectly. Such deep familiarity stems directly from weeks of plotting. Cameron's army reconnaissance history proves vital here since he grasps these shadow tactics effortlessly, realizing that snatch and grab extortion schemes, particularly the focused capturing of relatives tied to rich or famously known figures, rarely happen by accident, often requiring months of preparation as the culprits track their prey. Crooks memorize daily habits, spot weaknesses, sync their attack windows, and map out clean getaways. Base camps get established, allowing them to hoard enough secrets to validate their prize once the cash demands eventually roll out. Cameron noticed these exact patterns scattered across the crime scene, immediately recognizing the precise trail detectives needed to chase. Shifting gears toward building crews feels necessary since federal agents have zeroed in heavily on this specific angle. Brian Enton noted federal investigators revisiting the subdivision several times lately, polling locals regarding nearby home renovation projects. Authorities explicitly questioned folks regarding any laborers present on the block throughout the month of January. What houses hosted active build sites? And which firms scored the bids? Can anyone name the solo hands? Identify their trucks, or verify their exact clock-in hours? Such heavily pointed and detailed inquiries strongly suggest the feds have real cause to suspect a rogue contractor operating within the subdivision holds a piece of this puzzle. The logic checks out flawlessly. Shadowing a mark without sparking immediate panic demands a completely solid disguise, requiring an airtight, believable excuse to justify hanging around the local block entirely undetected. Blue-collar building gigs offer flawless camouflage, especially since the Catalina Foothills remains a highly wealthy district. Mansions undergo endless facelifts, massive additions, or complete ground-up teardowns. Daily life there involves endless building squads, yard designers, and various specialized crews flooding the local streets inside their heavy-duty rigs on any given afternoon. Guys rocking neon vests haul equipment, freely pacing across lawns to gauge tasks, drop off lumber, or check dimensions. Neighbors never bat an eye since their daily presence feels entirely normal. Keeping tabs on Nancy's residence completely undetected becomes terrifyingly simple if a stalker just parks beside a busy home build. A phantom could chill inside a commercial van all afternoon without turning a single head. Strolling the pavement with a heavy wrench box makes a spy entirely invisible. Imagine knocking on doors right next door, faking a lost delivery to scout the target. Every single second, you are quietly absorbing critical intel, tracking their daily habits, clocking every departure, and completely mapping out their blind spots, spotting security feeds and plotting the perfect strike. Federal agents are currently building a database of every builder stationed throughout the Catalina Foothills this past January. Investigators are aggressively demanding full crew manifests from all major builders. Hired hands are getting intensive criminal background sweeps. Authorities are mapping out any firm with job sites within a half-mile of the victim's residence. They are carefully matching those records against massive hours of security video. Should an authorized day laborer suddenly appear on those tapes, lurking near the victim's property long after dark when tools were stored away, that guy instantly skyrockets to the absolute top of the suspect board. Throw in a past rap sheet filled with breaking and entering, heavy theft charges, abduction cases, or severe mob ties, and detectives have found their prime target. Detectives are also hyper-focused on a glaring red flag, an abandoned house nearby. Federal agents have been grilling locals regarding a dwelling that emptied out right before the vanishing. Cops are desperate to learn who held the keys, asking if suspicious shadows were caught sneaking inside, or if mysterious cars idled there past midnight. An empty house is an absolute goldmine for predators. It gives you a silent staging ground to stash your ride unnoticed. Plus, it serves as the ultimate sniper nest for stalking your prey securely. You can easily dump your gear or swap outfits both before and after executing the hit. But it is also a giant trap for leaving physical clues, tread marks, shoe prints, or bodily fluids ready to be scraped up. If the perp used this ghost house as their lair, they definitely slipped up. Perhaps ring cameras across the street caught a dark figure breaching the perimeter when nobody was around. Forensic scientists could easily uncover left-behind biological traces, or maybe digital tower pings will reveal a burner device anchoring itself there over and over again. Property deeds will completely expose the actual owners alongside anyone granted legal entry rights. Detectives can grill local brokers, landlords, or even passing linemen to find out who was lurking around. Linking that empty lot directly to the stalker would immediately lock another massive puzzle piece right into place. Now we need to talk genetics, since this exact science might finally unmask the monster behind this. Sheriff Chris Nanos confirmed that biological swabs taken from the crime scene are currently under microscopes at 2 facilities. This move is incredibly telling. Whenever cops split physical clues between dual testing sites, it usually points to specific realities. Either the material is heavily compromised or dirty, demanding elite scientists to process it, or it is a complex cocktail of multiple profiles that must be painstakingly teased apart and named one by one. Tangled genetic webs are incredibly tough. Experts must filter out the innocent bystanders like close relatives, drinking buddies, or handy workers, just to successfully isolate the true signature of the primary attacker. This grueling procedure demands cutting-edge technology mixed with incredibly precise scientific scrutiny. Bringing in a backup lab strongly hints that detectives are diving into ancestral DNA tracing. This is the exact forensic magic that finally nailed the Golden State Killer after 40 years on the run. They simply dumped the suspect's genetic code into open-source ancestry platforms like Family Tree DNA or GEDmatch. The algorithm does not look for exact twins, but instead hunts for ordinary folks sharing tiny chromosomal fragments. We usually mean long-lost family ties, third or fourth cousins sharing a single great-grandparent from way back in the day. The second a hit drops, forensic genealogists start mapping out massive family trees. They build lineage forwards, pinpointing modern descendants while swiftly hacking off family branches that clash with the killer, until they drill down to a handful of viable targets. At that point, old-school police work kicks in. Undercover squads begin tailing the names spat out by the ancestral database. Cops patiently stalk their prey, waiting to snatch up a tossed coffee cup from a random garbage bin, a flicked cigarette on the pavement, or a dirty diner napkin. Basically anything the guy touched and ditched. That fresh swab is then slammed against the original crime scene profile. The moment those strands align, the hunt ends with bulletproof proof. Prepare for a massive shock. Moore completely dominates America's DNA investigation scene. This legendary sleuth independently cracked over 200 frozen mysteries through her brilliant methods. During a recent audio broadcast, she revealed how ridiculously precise current genetic tracking feels. Her exact words were clear: "We crack mysteries today using merely one detached strand." Such extreme precision ensures tiny organic clues generate perfect genetic blueprints. One isolated epidermal flake, a tiny drop of perspiration, or some microscopic follicle piece. Should the culprit have dropped any organic matter around her home? Which absolutely happens, since invading spaces cleanly is impossible. Labs are currently analyzing it and rapidly pushing those samples into huge digital archives. Experts are running matches against countless digital blueprints, which might soon reveal an identity. However, ancestry tracing requires patience. Since pulling and analyzing those initial samples consumes weeks, feeding systems and anticipating hits adds further delays, while mapping deep ancestral connections forces researchers to hunt down essential nativity papers, wedding licenses, mortality files, census numbers, and military documents. Investigators also check generational border papers before hunting surviving relatives, running stakeouts, and swabbing matches. This whole ordeal drags on for months, yet yields conclusions that science simply cannot deny. We must honestly ask if Nancy possesses that much leeway, given she is 84. Her severe cardiac illness demands daily pills to keep that artificial pacemaker functioning smoothly. Lacking those crucial pills, her cardiovascular beat might turn fatally erratic. Massive heart failure is genuinely imminent, considering goons snatched her without vital prescriptions. A lifeline mobile device, or proper shoes, totally abandoning her in flimsy sleepwear. She vanished exactly 55 days ago, while every single physician questioned regarding her future echoes an identical, incredibly grim warning. Deprived of her prescriptions and stripped of standard treatments, her odds of staying alive plummet severely every passing sunrise, generating immense pressure for detectives. Cops aren't merely decoding an abduction, they desperately sprint against the clock to rescue her, knowing every single second counts. That fully explains why federal agents poured incredibly massive assets into cracking this specific mystery. Hence their deep dive into countless security tapes over several weeks, alongside widespread genetic testing. Therefore, authorities keep executing warrants, confiscating devices, and interrogating every single builder spotted around there. Ultimately, buried deep within those scattered clues lies the golden ticket to locating Nancy Guthrie. Those twin busts executed during mid-February stay highly secretive, as officials hit two distinct properties. First up was a Rio Rico dwelling near the Mexican boundary, where officers handcuffed a guy named Carlos and quickly snatched his mobile device. Their second target sat roughly 2 miles away from the victim's primary household. Authorities grabbed another male suspect there alongside his device. Though neither fellow currently faces formal criminal indictments regarding her highly tragic vanishing act, judges keep those legal authorizations tightly locked, leaving us completely blind about whatever solid suspicions pointed detectives toward these specific guys. However, retired federal operative Maureen O'Connell shared valuable theories rooted in her extensive background handling identical cases. She suggested the likeliest scenario involves spotting those suspects' automobiles roaming across captured neighborhood videos. Perhaps lenses caught their rides cruising around the targeted subdivision throughout those incredibly crucial hours. Street monitors or residential doorbell lenses might have easily snapped clear images of their tags. Why exactly bystanders probably shared car details matching those rides? Regardless of motives, federal agents desperately crave those gadgets. Since today's smart devices harbor insanely thorough logs, tracking human habits, satellite tracking perfectly pinpoints every single spot that handset visited. It measures coordinates within mere meters, alongside dialing histories exposing exact networking timelines. Plus, typed chats, potentially uncovering shady plots involving hidden criminal partners. Captured imagery could even expose sneaky recon snapshots of her estate. Software footprints might display web browsing histories directly tied to hostage grabs or extortion requests. Federal tech experts are currently dissecting all those clues. While one specific takedown detail feels fascinating, a heavily rated property belonged to a guy who had just snagged a fresh Range Rover. He dropped roughly $17,400 on it just 1 to 2 weeks prior to Nancy vanishing. Such scheduling sparks, glaring red flags. Why secure an automobile right before a snatching? Did he perhaps acquire this machine exclusively for doing dirty work, ensuring nobody could easily link it back toward his mundane everyday lifestyle, dropping pure cash on a ride just to dodge the financial dragnet? Should that luxury SUV pop up on neighborhood security feeds around the property, flashing across various lenses on different days, that sketchy buy suddenly morphs into hard proof. Yet right now, zero formal indictments exist. Those guys definitely aren't cleared either. While detectives keep digging, ex-bureau investigator Jennifer Coffendoffer stays glued to the details, sharing brilliant breakdowns on her digital shows and online platforms. Her latest update claims the hunt for Nancy Guthrie is absolutely blazing away privately. She made it crystal clear that zero televised handcuffs hardly means the momentum has died down. Her exact words: detectives are totally swamped with an insane amount of clues dwarfing normal inquiries. She noted the victim's case remains fiercely alive across all critical fronts. Cops are actively reviewing security tapes while labs steadily run those genetic samples. Tech experts keep cracking confiscated mobiles. Detectives are chatting with bystanders. And civilian hints keep flooding the switchboards. Every single piece of this massive puzzle moves forward at once, inching them significantly closer. Whoever ripped that doorbell lens straight off the siding screwed up on an epic scale, falsely believing a single device was their sole problem. They had zero clue about the remaining 5 setups, nor did they guess street lenses caught their ride 6 times. They completely forgot nearby porch monitors were quietly recording those sneaky scouting patrols. The intruder felt bulletproof after plotting meticulously. Yet the electronics saw absolutely everything. Authorities logged each trip perfectly, granting the Bureau an airtight 3-week schedule that exposes the exact criminal blueprint and execution. That perpetrator genuinely believed tearing away the tech would wipe the slate clean forever. Instead, that desperate action simply proved they fully recognized the massive hanging threat. That specific clue basically handed authorities a massive neon sign pointing toward their next target. Meanwhile, her relatives pledged a $1 million bounty for her safe return. Feds added another $100,000 too. That makes $1.1 million for the rescuing tip. Listen closely if you reside around the Catalina Foothills with exterior monitors. Please review your recordings today if you kept those tapes hidden from the cops. Should you spot sketchy stuff, like random cars or folks creeping by late at night, reach out to federal law enforcement instantly. Dial 1-800-CALL-FBI. Exactly 1-800-225-5324. Any January builders? Did they act super weird right around when she vanished? Maybe they skipped town abruptly, or even bought a car right before the kidnapping. You must dial that hotline, because somebody out there definitely witnessed the unthinkable. Those 6 lenses filmed way more than expected. Hit subscribe on Crime Uncovered to catch every breaking detail. Smash like if you think these 6 gadgets will crack the mystery. Then leave your thoughts. Could the feds already have their prime suspect locked in? After all, the lenses kept rolling endlessly without the culprit suspecting a thing. They never realized their massive exposure. This story reveals a powerful truth about the modern world: no action truly disappears, and every choice leaves a trace. The person behind this crime believed that removing a single camera could erase their presence, but reality proved otherwise. Multiple unseen systems, quiet witnesses, and hidden layers of technology continued recording, preserving every movement, every mistake. It's a reminder that deception often collapses under the weight of truth. Beyond technology, there's a deeper human lesson. Evil rarely happens in a single moment, it builds over time. It watches, studies, and waits. And yet, so does justice. Through persistence, collaboration, and attention to detail, even the most carefully planned acts begin to unravel. This story also highlights the power of awareness. A neighbor noticing something unusual, a camera capturing a small detail, a memory that doesn't feel right. These moments may seem insignificant, but together, they become the foundation of truth. Most importantly, It reminds us of the value of human life and connection. Behind every case is a family waiting, hoping, refusing to give up. In the end, the lesson is clear: stay aware, trust what feels wrong, and never underestimate the power of small details, because they may be the key to justice.